Okay, I have finished crocheting my rectangle for my beanie hat. I have stopped on 71 rows. You can do any odd number you want. And the best way to decide when to stop is to just fold it over like this and check that's roughly the size you want for your head. 69, 71, 73 is about the right time. You need to finish on an odd row. That way when we put our seam together, it's not visible. And the easiest way to know you're on an odd row is to look for your tail. I have unfortunately already weaved my tail in, but my tail is here. And as long as your tail is on the same end that you finished, you know it's odd, because the first row along the bottom is your chain. Then you come back in a back line, only double crochet. That's row 1. Then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So you're always going to be, the tail will be on the odd side. Okay, so once you're happy with your rectangle, we need to turn it over and fold it in half. And now we are going to double crochet up the seam. So we're going to use the back line only on this row, but the front of it, we are using our chain that we made. So first thing is to have a good look at it so you know where your holes are. You don't want to miss a stitch because then your seam will be visible. So the first hole on mine is really obvious, but there is a post that is created here whenever we did the chaining. So if you could look for those posts, what I do is I go in the first hole and I think go behind the post. Then I look for the post, go behind the post. Look for the post, go behind it. And you can sort of see as I tug this up that the spaces become visible. So have a good look so that you can find your post and you can find the space behind. So we're at the back, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through this first hole. We're going to pick up the back line only of the first double crochet, which is right there. Okay, then I'm going to yarn round hook. I'm going to come through the back line only, come through the first hole, and then I'm going to yarn round hook and make a double crochet. Okay, so there's my post right there. So I'm going to go behind the post. Then I'm going to pick up the back line of the second stitch, yarn round hook, pull it through both, yarn round hook, and through. There's my second double crochet. So now look, there's sort of gaps appearing here. So look carefully. Ah, there's my post. You see it right there? So I want to go in behind that one. And if I keep doing that, I know I'm not going to miss a stitch. Then I look at the back, and here's my double crochet back line, yarn round hook, pull it through both, yarn round hook, and there we go. Okay, so you're going to take your time. It's a bit fiddly at the start. And this is, you're at the finish line here, so you're just doing this seam, and once it's done, you're very close to finishing your hat. So again, I'll do another one really slowly here. So we're gonna find that post. There it is. See that if I pull this bit up, I can see the post there. Go in behind it, find the back line of the next double crochet, yarn round hook, pull it through both, yarn round hook, complete my double crochet. Then you're going to see here that the seam, I'll show you when I'm finished with the row, is it's almost invisible. You won't be able to see it. Okay, I'm nearly here at the end of my row. So I'm doing my last few double crochets of the seam. All right, so I'm still going past my post. Okay, so there's my post. I'm going to go past it. I'm going to get the back line only of that double crochet, pull through both, finish. Now, you'll notice here I'm on my last double crochet, and I still have a little hangy bit here. I'm not really happy about that, but this part here at the top is what's going to seam and be the top of the hat. So I'm going to put two together. So I'll show you how. I'm just going to come through there, and instead of pulling through, I am going to go through the next one here because I wasn't happy with how that was sticking out. And I'm going to go back through the exact same back line only. And then when I pull it through, I'm going to have 3 on the loop. And I'm going to go through all 3. It just is going to make it a little bit tighter at the end. I don't know whether I ended up with an extra stitch or what, but this part here is going to be the top of my hat. So you need to stretch this out now, and we need to, sorry, let me find my scissors. We need to cut quite a long piece because this bit is what you're going to use to sew the top of the hat together. You don't want to be a bit short, so just cut off more than you need. So there we go. No, fasten off, it's what it's called. So you've got this loop and you're basically just going to pull this through, and that's going to become a knot there at the corner. Okay, so if you look now, my seam on the inside, you can see it a little bit, but on the outside of my hat, it's almost invisible. Okay, you can't, it's actually right there, but you can barely see it. So what we're going to do is I am going to now thread this onto a needle, and I'm going to sew the top of my hat together. Okay, after several failed attempts at getting my needle threaded, which I'm so glad wasn't on video, we're now going to sew the top of the hat together. Okay, so we're just going to go in and out around the edge here, and there's no need to be too fussy. Just whatever feels okay. I'm not an expert at the sewing part, so this might be a bit higgledy-piggledy, but you're just basically going to seam it up to be the top of the hat. So we'll just keep going in and out. It'll start to scrunch, which is great. So you can see it's starting to scrunch together, which is what I want. Eventually I'm going to get all the way around this, and then you can see how it comes out. Okay, scrunching is starting. Okay, I've nearly got it around the whole way. So I'm just going to do a couple more around here. No, I need to seal the top shut, but just before I do that, I will go back and forth across this a few times. I'm just going to turn the hat inside out to double check that it's all laying okay. If you have any skills with pom-poms, this is where you could make a pom-pom and stick it through the top there. I did try that on my brown hat, and I wasn't so great at the pom-pom skills, but my rim's going to come up like this. But I still have a hole here, so I have a little bit more sewing back and forth across to do. Now the last bit, because I've scrunched it all up, again, I just need to go back and forth across to be sure that I don't have any holes, and trying hard not to stab myself in the process. Yeah, you just want to randomly go back and forth across to be sure that you can't get your finger through the hole in your hat. Okay, so I'm probably a little bit excessive here and doing it more than I need to, but after all that nice, relaxing, meditative crochet, I don't want to end up with a big hole in the top of my hat. So I think this is probably getting close. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to turn that over now, and voila. That's going to be my hat. There we go. So there's my little beanie hat. And in my next video, this is the hat I made before. I used a different, thicker type of wool. I'm going to show you how to make a little flower. So you can customize your hat and put a little flower on the outside.